Hello and welcome once again to the Steer series of videos by Dr. Amdekar's team. I am Dr. Tushar Maniar, pediatrician from Andheri, and I'll be talking today on role of genetic tests in clinical medicine. I acknowledge Dr. Ami Shah, our clinical geneticist, for her contribution and guidance in preparing this video. Let me start by saying that no single genetics test, or a battery of tests can give you foolproof answers to each and every diagnostic dilemma that we may have. So let us look at where and when we are going to ask for genetic tests. We classically ask for a diagnostic genetic test where a symptomatic or suspected genetic disorder is tested. On the other hand, you can have a prognostic testing. That means a child is detected with leukemia and you want to do certain genetic test to decide the risk profile for treatment or to choose an appropriate drug for that particular condition. One could have carrier testing wherein a person with genetic disease has been identified and their family members are checked for at risk. Also, in certain communities where certain genetic diseases are prevalent, one could do carrier testing. There is predictive testing available, wherein it's a kind of carrier detection, but it's more like a early prediction of the disease, and before the disease manifests, certain measures can be taken. For example, if there are certain cancers where one is predisposed to at a high risk, one could take appropriate steps to prevent them. Most commonly, we all do newborn screening test, and that's a kind of genetic test where actually biochemical tests are performed in order to diagnose genetic test conditions. Here, we test either accumulation of metabolites, lack of metabolites, or absence of certain enzymes in a newborn at birth. And the conditions typically chosen are one which are present at birth and also most likely treatable, as well as more prevalent in that particular community. And finally, we have prenatal testing, which we all are aware, where we do amniocentesis or chorion villus biopsy. Let us look at some of the important tests that we may commonly ask for in genetics. So when we ask for a genetic test, that particular genetic test analyzes the different levels of genomes. Karyotype, for example, analyzes the chromosomes, and thereby it tells you not only the number but also the structure of chromosome. And classically, we order this when we look at Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome. Also, if we are looking at certain chromosomal breakage conditions like Fanconi's, or occasionally when we have a bad obstetric history and we want to see if there are any chromosomal abnormality which makes the person at risk for bad obstetric history in future. The advantages are that it's easily available, affordable, can pick up translocations as well as mosaicism. But the disadvantage is it takes 2 to 4 weeks and not all major abnormalities can be detected. Here, important to remember that because of its long turnover time, for prenatal testing for a given condition, one may have to choose some other test over karyotype. Next, we look at FISH, that is fluorescent in situ hybridization test, and that identifies a known DNA sequence by using a particular probe to identify that disease. The FISH is usually done for conditions again where you have trisomy, meaning more number of chromosomes, or sometimes for microdeletions like Prader-Willi, or for Down syndrome in prenatal testing. Because it has faster turnaround time, it is higher sensitivity and specificity compared to karyotype. But it is more expensive, and most important, unless we know what we are looking for, we cannot order a particular FISH probe. Next, we look at MLPA, which is actually a modification of multiplex PCR using FISH principle. This is especially useful when you are looking at deletion or duplication disorders and conditions where you have more number of genetic abnormalities leading to a particular type of phenotype. But important is you should be able to have identifiable or identified probes which you can use for this particular test. Classic conditions being Duchenne muscular dystrophy or Prader-Willi or broad spectrum conditions like mental retardation, where you know which causes you are going to investigate. This is more sensitive than FISH. It can pick up even point mutations. It is relatively low cost and the turnaround time is not very long. But the important thing once again is that unless you know which probes to be used by looking at the patient, we cannot order an MLPA. Next, we look at the other common genetic test, that is the chromosomal microarray testing. Here, the concept is that you have a condition which has many genetic abnormalities or different genetic abnormalities, I should say, and we may not be sure about which ones to check. For example, you have a child with developmental delay, intellectual delay, autism spectrum disorder, or dysmorphism where you are not able to pinpoint a particular condition. Also, if you have a fetus or a child with multiple structural abnormality, not able to pinpoint a particular cause, in which case you can order a chromosomal microarray, which will not only pick up deletion, and duplications, but can also pick up single gene syndromes. The difficult part is that it's expensive and can sometimes miss balance translocation and very low level of mosaicism. Next, we look at the most commonly or used or abused test, that is your NGS or next generation sequencing. What it does is it's a process which determines the sequence of nucleotides in the DNA. And the different type of NGS tests that we can order are whole genome sequencing, or next will be whole exome sequencing. Both of them can be used when we have unexplained disease or we have certain patients who have multiple abnormalities, and then you have no idea about where you are going. The third type is the clinical exome, where the tests are carried out for known disorders which are covered under the database of OMIM. Here the advantage is that you do not get unwanted answers, but at the same time you may miss out on certain newer conditions or unknown conditions which may become known later if you order only clinical exome. And finally, you have panel testing NGS. That means there are known abnormalities or variants for a particular disorders. Like you have neurodegenerative disorders or you have ataxia, and we can order a particular panel for that. How do we interpret the NGS? So when you have seen a report, you will see pathogenic. That means this variant corresponds to the clinical condition that you are having with the patient. Or it will say likely pathogenic. That means this is most likely to be corresponding to the clinical condition. Or the variant may have no connection with known diseases, and it will say likely benign, or it will say benign. That means you are sure that though this is a variation, this has no clinical significance. And finally, you may have VUS. Finally, you may also have an answer which says variant of uncertain significance, or VUS. That means in the given knowledge and current database available, there is no clear-cut guideline whether this is associated with a pathogenicity or not. Now, what are the problems of ordering NGS? You can have unwanted information. You may have information on which you may not be able to act now. For example, a disease may be uncovered, which does not necessarily mean that it is present today, or the patient may never get it. And when they get it, till they get it, they may not have the insurance cover, they may have restrictions for taking up jobs, studies, fitness, and lot of other ethical dilemma may be there. So we must remember that whatever you ask for, you will get good information, but you will also get some bad information. And hence, when you order a particular genetic test, things that one needs to be sure about is that we must make a clinical diagnosis, decide what is the probable genetic abnormality, appropriately choose the genetic test by looking at the expense, the turnaround time, the sensitivity specificity, the likelihood of that being useful for the management of the patient, and of course, looking at the ethical part. Finally, if we get a test which is negative or like a VUS, it may happen that in future there will be more cases reported with the same variants, with the same clinical picture, and that VUS may get into likely pathogenic section. So if you get a negative test, does not necessarily mean that the child does not have a problem. So friends, as we always say, clinical correlation, history and diagnosis must always be taken into account while ordering for a genetic test. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.